Hello everyone, this is another Glide tutorial, and in this one I'm going to use custom CSS to customize a cards collection to create something like this. When you hover over an image, it changes the image styling. It's something like an interactive photo gallery. In my case, it's a conference app, and in conference there are themes, and so I display the themes like this. The user can hover over every theme and see the description. They can click and the actions on the card. So if you need anything like this in your apps, just watch this video. So what I'm actually updating here is a just a cards collection with a name, description, and image, a simple one. Make sure the style is minimal so we don't get into updating the cards styling. The size, you can choose whatever you want. It works for all. The image style is a square. The aspect ratio you can choose, and the orientation you can also choose between vertical and horizontal. For this one, I'm gonna just start with a page size of 4, just in case when I update the custom CSS, I am not changing the design of the page numbers or the action bar, the title bar actions, and just give it a class name. Let's call it gallery. So let's start by updating the custom CSS. As usual, go through all the divs, have a look at all the style divs, style div 1, for example, just so you know what you're dealing with. Yeah, there's plenty of ones for sure. So this is saying in the class gallery, every div with this class with this string in the class style div 1, just put a border around it. You can see the two. There's two style divs twos, an outer one and an inner one. 3, 4. We'll be updating the 3 as well. The 4, the 6 is the one with the cards and also the numbers. So let's start with the 2. The 2 is actually, there are two twos, so I can add this condition and say when the class star equal has a string card collection card. So this will limit it to only the this one, which contains the cards. And if you realize, this is the one that has the grid. So if I say grid gap 0 pixels, this will actually bring the cards closer to each other with a 0 pixels gap between them. I won't do this right now. I'll come back to this later on, but this is the final step. I'll keep the gap now so that we can see how we make the changes. Let's start with the style div 3. I put a border around it. This div contains the cards and the page numbers, and it contains the collection. And for this one, I want to put a background color black, border to pixel black, and a padding of 10 pixel, which I can remove later on, but just to see what's happening. So the text isn't that visible now, but that's fine. We'll update it very soon. Let's update the cards. We want to find which div contains the cards, and that's style div 6. The style div 3 is a class card collection because it's an outer one. The style div 2 and the 6, which are inside the 3, have this card collection card string. So this is the 6, and as you can see, I put a gold border around the cards and a padding. So if you want to go further and check, actually, let me just repaste this. You can put a greater than sign and div here, and this means show me the divs, the child divs of the style div 6. This one. I'll just put a border. Let's make it dash so we see what it's updating. So you see the style div 6 contains two children. One is the div containing the images, and the second one is the one containing the text, which is actually the style div 10. So let me show you this. I'll put a red border around it. Let's remove this border. and put a red border around the style div 10. This is the one containing the text. Now let's start by updating the text of the cards. I can go and say in the class gallery, if it's an h3, there we go, we lost it. If it's an h3, make the text red. I can do that maybe, but the better way is just to put the entire, just do it this way in case there are other h3s around, not this one. And this says that in class gallery, for every div that has a class with this string and this string, which is this section, make the h3 a font weight 100, letter spacing -2 pixels, font size 1.4 rem, color is white, and a padding bottom. You can make it 10 or even 20 pixels. Put some space between the title and the description. Let's update the description now. And the description is the P tag, and I said make a gray color, letter spacing 0 pixels, font size 0.9, and the display is none. So what we want by default is to hide this description. That's why we add this one, display none. We want to show it when we hover over the card. So let's keep on adding CSS. What we want to do now is make sure the image, it has sharp corners. So if I do this, I say gallery image and border radius 0 pixels. This won't be enough because it does for the image, but it doesn't do it for the card. So when I remove the padding on the style div 6, which has a 10 pixel padding, I'm still gonna have a bit of, it looks like a cut, still a bit of curve on the card. So what I also have to change is this one, the style div 4, which holds the style div 6, and I say border radius 0 pixels. I remove this border. So there we go. Now we have a sharp image, sharp cornered image. I can remove the red border around this one, the text. I don't need this. I can remove the border around the card. I don't need this as well. There we go. I can now remove the comment here and bring the cards closer to each other. So now I can also remove the padding, this one, so that they are towards the edges of the div. So now we want to allow the user, when he hovers over the card, to change the color and display the text. But first we want to also push it up. We want to push this part, the style div 10, up on top of the image. So let's add this custom CSS. And what this says is the style div 10 card collection card. Position it absolute. Since it's the second child of the style div 6, it will go to the top onto the style div 6. And with the bottom 0 pixels, left 0 pixels, padding of 20 pixels, width is 100, and the background is a linear gradient from nearly black to transparent, going upwards to top, and a z-index 10 to make sure it appears on top. So if you see, I can remove the padding here. We will just have a 20 pixel from the bottom because we put it 20 pixels under the title. Okay, now all we have to do is add the CSS when the user hovers over the image or over the card. And I have 4. This one is when the user hovers over the card, make the border of the card gold. 2 pixel gold. There we go, this one. And then when they hover over the card, make the H3 color gold, which is the text, the title text. And this one's another important one. When we hover over the card, make the P so the description visible. And the last one, to make the text on the image a bit clearer, I added an opacity 0.3 on the image. So when they hover over the card, the image opacity becomes 0.3 and it becomes darker. Yep, that's it. If I go back into, as you see, we haven't made any major changes to the style of the page numbers. If I go back and I say, I'll remove the page size so we can see them all together. There we go. We can remove the border also around the H3, or we can keep it, make it 1 pixel border. Let's make the container dark. And as I said, we can increase the size of the image if we want to. We can horizontally display them. Yep, give it a try. It makes the photo gallery look way nicer than just displaying them.